Do you ever think back to your childhood and remember when you could dream freely? That moment when you're on the beach with your friends and you feel like you were Ronaldo or Messi in that moment. And you knew in your heart that maybe one day you could be in one of these stadiums playing for your country or for your favorite sports club. Do you remember the day that you stood in front of a mirror and you acted out characters that you watched from your favorite movie? Do you remember the day you laid in your balcony listening to radio and you thought to yourself, I love the way she sounds. I would love to be on air. I would love to be a radio presenter. Do you remember that dream? So today we're going to be talking about your potentials, your talents, your gifts, your passions, those things that you have repressed because life has shown you shege, promax. Do you know what that is? Shege is a Nigerian term for you have seen trouble. You've seen troubles, you've gone through a lot in life, and you feel like you never ever got a chance to become that person that you always wanted to be. And you had to let go of those dreams just so that you could survive and pay bills. But what if I tell you that life is not all about surviving and paying bills? Let's get into today's video. But before we go deep into this video, I want to talk to the people particularly who feel like they don't have gifts and talents. Let me tell you something today. Let me just bust your bubble. Every single one of us on earth, we do have gifts and talents. And in your head, you think that you don't have any gifts and talents because you do not recognize it. You know, some people are lucky enough to have people around them who could see this gift early and actually validate it. But some people actually do rise to the gift on their own, recognizing this. But for you watching this and you feel like, I actually don't know, or think that you have gifts and talents, you do have gifts and talents. You could be someone who is really good at listening to people, encouraging people, organizing things. That's a gift and that's a talent. It's up to you to capitalize on that strength that you have. You know, one thing I'm really learning when it comes to gifts, talents and passions and all of that, it's not really about being on the spotlight, on stage and for everyone to see you, right? It's really about living that fulfilled lifestyle. When I say fulfilled, I mean fulfillment in the sense of your soul finds joy in doing it. And also, I personally believe that every gift that we have is meant to serve humanity one way or another. So as much as it can bring fulfillment into your spirit, it's also meant to help serve others. And when you're serving others with that gift, with that talent, you're going to do it so joyfully. Whoever it is I'm speaking to right now, and you feel like you don't have gifts and talents, if you look very well, you will see that you have those gifts and talents. Like I said, it doesn't have to be something that's all, on the spotlight or anything. It could just be those subtle things. What about those things that people say, oh my God, you do that really well. You know, even to you that it comes naturally to you, but you overlook it because it doesn't look like the singer. It doesn't look like the artist. It doesn't look like the actor, the actress. It doesn't look like, what you see in the spotlight. So when you're in your own element, of displaying your talent, you tend to overlook it. You don't even recognize it as a talent. But I'm telling you today, if you capitalize on that talent, on that passion, you will not regret it. So just because it feels normal to you doesn't mean it's not a gift. When it comes to gifts and talent, right? I believe that as much as we all have gifts, talents and passions, I do believe that a lot of us, most of us I'd like to believe, if not, are multifaceted. So there's always ways where our gifts can complement each other. So once again, I would encourage you, hone in, capitalize on your strengths and see how you can bring them to work together. And to those people who have gifts and talents, but you're shy, you have the fear of being seen. You feel like your talent is not good enough like everyone else. Well, this video is to encourage you to come out of that place. I always say in my videos, and I'll continuously repeat it until it sticks in your head, that every person that you see today in the heights of their career, they've had to go through years of work, practice to get to this excellence that they are. Excellence doesn't just start on its own. Now, some people can be born with that spirit of excellence right from birth and, they're very particular, very detailed, and they're wanting to make sure that, and now I'm not talking about perfectionist. There's a difference between excellence and perfectionist, because the spirit of excellence is about growing and becoming better, right? Whereas perfectionism is all about, people's validation, right? You want to do it so that people would not probably judge your work or whatever it is. So if you're in that state of like, You don't believe in your talents that you have. You don't believe in your dreams. You don't believe in your singing. You don't believe in, and maybe the reason why you don't believe in those talents and passions that you have, it could be that it was stifled as a child. People told you, you think so you sabi sing. so that's basically, you think you can sing. So people told you, you think that you can sing. You think you can dance. You think you know it all. How about maybe you do know it? How about maybe you can actually dance? How about, yes, you can actually sing? But sometimes, because people can be quite insecure and because they don't recognize their own gifts and talents, when someone else starts expressing that, even from childhood, what they know is to deem that talent. What they know is to deem that passion, because it's like, there's no way it can happen for you. There's no way you can have a gift and talent. There's no way you can sing. Now, some people are actually quite fortunate, right, to have parents and family members who encourage them to go after their dreams and their passions. These people are really lucky. They're graced and blessed to have people who would push them right towards what they want to do in life. But unfortunately, some people come from families that kill that light when they see it. For instance, you see a child who talks too much when they're young, and what happens is that the people around, the adults around, tries to, tell that child, shut up, don't talk too much, you do this, you do that, you're always yapping. Even in schools, your teachers will tell you, you're always talking, you're always yapping, yeah. And it's like, as you grow, you become self-conscious of these things. And then unfortunately, if you're then around people in your environment who then start saying you're talking too much, this, and you start associating that with negative consequences, or like with the fact that you're not being liked or accepted, then you're likely to be like, do you know what? I don't actually want to explore this further. So to those people who have real dreams, they dreamed as a child, they had they found so much joy in doing those little things. I want to encourage you to come out. It's okay. You're an adult now. Be safe. And if you're a young person watching this, I want to encourage you that if there are things that are in your heart and you really want to explore it, go for it. Like I said, it doesn't have to be loud. It doesn't have to be flashy. As long as it brings joy to your soul. If you're someone who you're over 40s, over 50s, and you feel like there's no hope, there is still hope. Because if you're someone who maybe you loved reading, you love baking, you can start a business. Or sometimes you can just start making YouTube videos. You don't even have to necessarily start doing anything to monetize this passion. You can just start doing it in your own home, maybe every Saturday, and you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna make this cupcake and I'm gonna share with my family and friends. I'm gonna share it with my neighbors. Maybe when there are charity events taking place in town, you can bake some cupcakes and take it there just out of the joy in your heart. It doesn't have to be monetized. You could feel like, oh, do you know what, I'm 50 now. I don't feel like people who are 50 years old can still do running competitions or sports, or go for instance, let's say you had a dream, right, to play in the Olympics. Who said that you can't still do it? You can't still do it. Because you can, there are different ways of expressing that. A reminder that it doesn't have to be loud or flashy. You can start running again. You can start doing those sports that you enjoyed in childhood again. And then when you feel like, okay, I'm ready to go outside of my lane, out of my comfort zone, I'm ready to, share my passion with the world. You can start your own running club. You can start your own, sports club, whatever it is. You can start running your own events. And you just never know what life could do. You never know how life could propel you forward with that which you started, even at 50. And you don't have to wait, by the way, when it comes to opportunities, because I think a lot of the times we think that we have to wait for opportunities for life to happen. You can make it happen yourself. So you don't have to wait for anyone to validate your gifts or your talents. Just start, playing with it. Start, being curious about that which you have, and just start, cultivating it, and then capitalize on it. Because your dreams are just as valid as everyone else's. And remember, it doesn't have to be loud or flashy. So I want to let you know that you're not alone. You are not alone. You see, me being here in this video today is just part of my dream. And as I grow, I believe that I will be exploring other parts that I was once afraid to explore. So I'm inviting you to explore with me. And this is why I do have this empowerment business, to help someone like you out there who knows that you do have those gifts, but you just don't know how to go about it. Or you might not even know that you have a gift. I'm here to help you tap into those talents. So if you need more details, I would say go on my website, which is www.heandsherises.com. And you can find all information that you need on there. So I have something special that I wanted to share in this episode because it means a lot to me and I wrote it from my heart and I want you to take this very seriously. It's a letter from me to the dreamer. Dear dreamer, when you were a child, you dreamed freely. There were things that lit you up, things that you loved doing just because they made your soul come alive. At one point, you actually believed that those dreams could become your reality. Maybe you even shared them with a parent, a teacher, or someone that you trusted. And for some of you, that's where that dream was killed. Because they shut it down. They said, that's not realistic. They said, do something else. Do something stable to pay your bills. They told you to become a doctor, lawyer, or take over the family business. Anything but that wild dream that your heart longed for. So you grew, life happened. And somewhere along the way, that creative spark, the one that made you feel most like yourself, got buried. It got replaced with routines, responsibilities, and silent sadness. You see, suppressed potential can feel a lot like anxiety. An unexpressed purpose often disguises as depression. But hear me clearly. This is your time to dream again, to live again, to smile like you used to when you believed anything was possible. Bring back that innocence. If those dreams are still burning in your heart, even faintly, it's because they're still calling you. Life is waiting to see if you peel back the layers of doubt and finally step into your own light. Don't you see others shining? Yours is meant to shine too. Not for comparison, but for impact, because your light will ignite someone else's. So start that football community. Write that book. Pick up the baking pans. Put on your dancing shoes. Sing loudly, even on the streets if you have to. Dream again. You're not too late. You're right on time. This letter is to the dreamer. I'm inviting you to dream again. You know, it's so funny because recently, I've just had so many memories from childhood. And looking back on some people, I realized, wow, like, there's this guy particularly I knew from back home, you know, my early teenage years. And I can still see him grinding, still rapping, still putting his content out there. Although he may not be necessarily having, I personally feel like he should be like somewhere like really high, far. Listen, I'm not God, but I so believe in what he has that I believe that, oh my God, like he's meant to be somewhere further along. But regardless of that thought, I thought to myself, this guy's kept it consistent for years. I was looking at his pages and I was like, wow, like he has been consistent. And I have no doubt that at some point he will make it. He will finally see his dreams of standing in the nations, singing. And even if it does not happen for him like that, he's still doing it. He's still living out his dreams. And I just think that's beautiful. You know, and then I've seen some people, how their dreams have died. At some point, my own dreams too died. God is showing me that as I live every day, as long as I'm alive, I have that purpose to accomplish. There is still an opportunity for me. Every time I wake up every day, there's an opportunity for me to become the person that He created me to be. And I think that life is really just about living and making use of those things that God has actually put in our hands to create a fulfilling life, not just for ourselves, but for others. So today, will you make that decision to go back to that dream that you had when you were a child? It's your girl, Ngozi, your empowerment coach. Thank you so much for watching.